All right, hello everybody. We are working on level 8, lesson 3 today. We're still working on those tricky endings that you hear. I want to go through a little bit of teaching in this, and then I'll get right into the extra practice work and fluency drill tutorial. So, we're working on a lot of words that end in O and ON, or EO and EON and NION and all of those, okay? So we start by just reminding students that when you hear EO at the end of the word, it's always going to be spelled with an I and an O. So E, this I will say E. Let's put in a real word here like studio. The E sound at the end of studio is not coming from the letter E, it's coming from the letter I. And I followed by a vowel is usually not part of a vowel team, and it says E. Okay, so we can see it in a word like studio or Scorpio. We can then look at a word like, I want to then switch them and have them hear the end of the word. So let's do the word like scorpion, okay? Score, P, again, I followed by a vowel, un. Okay, so when they hear E-un at the end of the word, it's going to be I-O-N. Now we're going to get into something that is a little bit confusing, and that is the sound nyun at the end of the word. So I'm going to spell the word companion. Pan. Now this is where we kind of slur this all together, because when we say the word, we say companion, but what you have to do to spell it correctly, which is what most good spellers would do, is they're actually going to slow it down and they're going to say companion. Okay, so you have to be careful when you're spelling these. Anytime you hear that nyun at the end, it is going to be this N-I-O-N. It does get confusing because let's just look at the word like million now. I've got M-I-L, mill. I can hear that really clearly in the first syllable. Now my second syllable is just yun though, million. Again, you could slow this down and you could say million, but that's not how we say the word. And so for students that are struggling with dyslexia and hearing these sounds really clearly, this is pretty tricky. I do have a lot of students who, when they're spelling a word like companion, they'll come in and they will add an L to the end just based on this rule, because they hear yun at the end, okay? Companion, all right? So I just want to make you aware of that. If your students start spelling things like this, companion, and they think that the L-I-O-N here, you have to correct that, okay? So this word is companion. I always tell them, if you can hear an N at the end, it's not going to be N-L-I-O-N. It's just going to be N-I-O-N. Okay, so a word like companion or opinion or something like that. Okay, then they learned GION at the end, like the word region or surgeon. There are going to be two ways to spell GION. So we're going to put both of these up here. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? Region and then surgeon. So they also might not know how to spell surgeon, so this will be a good place for a question mark R. But there are two ways to spell it. So let's just quickly review some of the things that we've learned already, which is that the G in both of these words is followed by what we call a watch out vowel, an I, E, or Y. And that will change the sound of the G to just say J. Okay, so these watch out vowels, the I and the E in this case, have only one job, and that is just to change the sound of the G to say J. Region, surgeon. This is still schwa right here. Very technical. Look how technical we are in this. And that's why it says very lazy, unaccented vowel right there. Region, surgeon. So this would be a situation where your student might need to look it up to spell it correctly. Okay, so that's the first part that they learned. I like my students to write these down in the companion notebook right here. So here's the first part that they've learned. EO, how do you spell it? IO as in radio. NYUN, how do you spell it? NION as in companion. YUN, how do you spell it? LION as in million. And JUN, how do you spell it? GION or GEON as in region or surgeon. So that's the first part that they learned. The second part that they learned is going to work with sounds that end in ate. Okay, so ate or it. This is what we call a silent E unit. It looks like this, and it's red because this makes an unusual sound. So we can see it in a word like immediate. It's gonna say it at the end, just it. But we can see it in a word like radiate. It's going to say ate at the end. And you see that switch back and forth between words like appropriate or appropriate. Okay. Hold on, I'm just going to send a text to my friend. Okay, here we go. Then there's only one other thing that you need to know, which is there's words like appreciate and negotiate. Those can be spelled at the end with TIATE or CIATE. So if your student was unsure and they were looking up, this would be a situation where they would look up the she ate part with the question mark IATE. So again, there are words that end with she ate. I again have them categorize these in the notebook. So we have it as an immediate, ate as in radiate, and she ate as in appreciate or negotiate. That's the only time this changes to she, by the way. Okay, so that's a quick spelling or a quick tutorial about what we learned. Again, you know, we don't do these endings the whole time, but we do, you know, we're getting close to being at the end of this. So this is lesson 8.3. We're going to do it for lesson 8.4 as well. Okay, I'm just going to clean this up really quick so this isn't in here. But again, your student should have this all filled out. All the students that work at the 20% Club should have this companion notebook. This is a place where they can fill that out. If you don't have it and you want one and you're a 20% student, please reach out to me. Otherwise, if you would like to get one, they are available in my store, which is Evelyn Hazelman at the 20% Club. And my TPT store, excuse me. All right, let's go. Let's do some, we're going to do fluency drills. So we're working on level 8, lesson 3. We're going to have a couple of fluency drills that we're going to walk through. This is going to be simply reading. Like always, this is a great time to talk about vocabulary. There is going to be a lot of vocabulary that your student hasn't heard, doesn't know, and they don't know how to use in a sentence. So, you know, this would be a time where I would talk about what does mediate mean. Okay, I'm going to mediate the discussion between two parties who disagree about something. So go through, make sure that this is you've got some good fluency in here. We also have the next page, which right here, same thing. I would make sure intercollegiate is one that always trips kids up. I would make sure that they see that there's a prefix on here, and this is going to say intercollegiate at the end. So the job of the I right here is to make the G say J. Also attached in your reading summary will be something that's filled out like this, okay? So 8.3 is completed. It is attached again in your lesson summary that comes from TutorBird. So if your student didn't fill out their notebook and still needs these words, they're right here. Okay, so the way that I organize this is past lessons that they've learned. The green stuff is what they learned in this section. Okay, all right, so that is fluency drills. Let's look at extra practice pages. Circle each word that ends in IATE as an immediate or radiate. Underline each word that ends in TIATE or CIATE, then read each word. Okay, so we're going to underline mediate. We're going to underline abbreviate. We're going to circle officiate, depreciate. Expatriate gets an underline. Inappropriate. Remediate. Initiate. Substantiate. Intermediate. Associate. Appreciate. Exfoliate and alleviate. Okay, let's make real words by putting IAN, ION, NION, LION, GION or GEON. So we've got accordion, million, stallion, rebellion, companion, centurion, scorpion, religion, GION, oblivion, surgeon, Indian, medallion, opinion, and dungeon. Okay, so if your student is trying, like this one has two, GEON or GION. This one, those are two that your student might need to look up because there are two different spellings for it. Okay. All right, so that is extra practice number 4. And then extra practice number 5 is just like we usually do, which is who, what, the old transistor radio, played accordion music by the pavilion during the concert. Okay, so that's it. This is lesson level 8, lesson 3. All right, have a great day. We'll see you later.